great to see you again. So, welcome back for Friday Reads, and we've got a few books to talk about today. And I'm a little tired today. I think the heat and everything is kind of wearing me out a little, and it's been a busy week. So, if I don't seem, quite the same, that's why. So we're going to start with the Kamogawa Food Detectives. So this is the first book in a series called, I don't think it tells me what its series is called. Anyway, it's the first book in a series. So this one, takes place in Kyoto, and it's about a father and daughter who run this little restaurant where they're kind of food detectives. So if someone shows up and they have a memory of some kind of food that they really loved, but they can't remember how to make it or too much detail about it, the father and daughter work together to find out all about that dish and to make it for that person. So, for instance, there was someone who came in, and I think they wanted something that their mother had made them when they were a child. And their mother had passed away. They couldn't remember too much about the dish, and so it was up to these two to figure it out. So there is a cat in the story that kind of just seems to wander into this restaurant every now and again, and they kind of shoo him out. I don't know if he's supposed to be somehow magically helping these two, or whether he was just kind of just a character. They don't really tell you that. So I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, but I also didn't dislike it. It was just okay. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. So the next one was called What's Eating Jackie O? So this one was about a Korean American teenager who wants to become a chef, and she gets put on this cooking show on TV. It was called what was the name of the show? It was called Burn Off. Okay, I knew it was something a little bit strange, but it was called Burn Off. And so she gets on this show, and she's trying to do her best to cook what she loves. But there's pressure from her family. There's pressure from the producers. They want her to cook a certain way. She doesn't know if she wants to cook that way. It had potential, and I really wanted to like it. But I found that the author was really trying to do a whole lot of things with the story, and it was almost too much. Well, okay, it was too much in my opinion. She was trying to first of all talk about how Korean American people, or probably any kind of people who are whether they're Asian American, whether they're, Black American, European American, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but how, you're expected to cook a certain way. So this Korean American teen was expected to cook Korean food with kind of an American spin on it. But if she just cooked, say, American food or French food, people didn't think that was right. And so she was trying to put a lot of that into the story, but then she was also trying to put in things about Asian hate and a lot of other things, and things about, this girl's family. And I felt like nothing was really, she couldn't really do a good job when she had so many things that she was trying to get across. I think if maybe she had stuck with one thing, that maybe it would have come across better than trying to do too much in one novel. And I thought the ending of the book was kind of confusing. So in that way, I'd give it 2 out of 5. I don't like to say that because I rarely rank anything below 3, but I really didn't care for that one. So the next one is an ARC that I got from Book Sirens, and I believe it's out now. It's called A Cat's Guide to Danger, and this is the third in the Forgotten Village Magical Mysteries. I did read the first. Somehow I missed the second, and this now is the third. So this is about Chess, who in the first book she had her car had kind of taken over and drove her to this magical town, and she couldn't stop the car or change the car's direction. And as she's getting there, her cat starts meowing, but now she can understand what he's saying. And it turns out that when she was a child, her mother had taken her from this magical village into regular life, and she had kind of forgotten all of that. And so it all came back when she came through this mist. And so in this one, there are things going on in the regular world that are affecting the magical world. So she has to go into the regular world to figure out what's going on and try to stop it so that the magical world doesn't end up collapsing. So it was actually really good, and I really enjoyed it. I would say I would give it 4 stars. So the next one I listened to, and I'm really glad I did. I think it's one of those books that as an audiobook, I think it's even better, because this was the Guidebook to Murder by Lynn Cahoon, and it was a cozy mystery about Jill, who wants to keep her store going. It's called Coffee, Books, and More, and so she ends up visiting her neighbor, Miss Emily, and Miss Emily's older, and the council and some developers are trying to run Miss Emily out of her home. And this has been going on for quite a while, and Jill's trying to help her. And the next thing you know, Miss Emily ends up dead. And so it's up to Jill to find out what happened. And are these developers involved, or is it something else that caused her to be murdered? So it was really good, and I thought the people who did the audio, I thought they were really good, and was really involved in that one. So I would definitely give that one a 4 out of 5 as well. So the next one I finished, I'd been reading it for a bit of, quite a while. It was called Of Ink and Sea, and it's by Clarissa Kay. And this one was a historical fiction, and it was about the Bristol Sea, which divides Cornwall and Wales. And it's about this woman called Sienna, who ends up going to Cornwall to visit her grandfather, who has Alzheimer's. And she has never really fit into her family. Her grandfather's kind of been the only person who really got her. And it has to do a lot with this man that she meets there called Yoan. And he is he's a neighbor of her grandfather's and looking after her grandfather. And she kind of resents him, but she's kind of also drawn to him. And it has to do a lot with these myths and magical things that her grandfather has told her all his life. And it goes between 2 timelines. So it goes between present day and it goes back into the past, where it tells about this myth and how it's connected to her. So I thought it was quite good. Now, I really enjoyed the present day part. I was not as involved in the backstory of what happened way back in the past. And so for that reason, I would give it a 3.5, rounded up to 4. And that was everything that I read. I'm kind of involved in 3 or 4 other books, but but for now, that's what I read for this past week. And then also there was The Grey Wolf, which I did my 5-star book of the week. So check out that video if you haven't. And so that was my week, and Alexa's reminding me to move and breathe. So I know people don't really need reminders for that, but sometimes we forget to take a deep breath, and we need to be up and moving. So that keeps me from settling too long. So I hope everybody had a good week, and I'm starting a new job on Monday. So I'm hopeful that I'll continue to be able to keep the schedule I've been keeping, but no guarantees of that. This is kind of a whole new thing for me, so I really don't know what it'll be like. And new hours and all of that as well. So if anything goes, if I drop anything, it might be Tuesday tags, but we'll kind of play it by ear and see how we do. All right, so have a great week, everyone, and stay cool. All right, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.